So thrilled to have Mike Anderson, the Senior Vice President of Sustainability and External Affairs at Cosmos Energy. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you
Thank you
for
very
being
much.
here. What drives Cosmos Energy's investment strategy in Africa, and which countries or regions hold the most potential?
I think, good question. And I think there are three key elements for us when we're looking at investment strategies. First of all, oil and gas industry. You have to have the rocks. You have to have the technical capability to find those rocks, and the country itself has to have those rocks, whether it's oil or gas. So that's, if you like, number one. It's critical, and not all countries have it. Second is we have to have, to drive investment, we have to have a commercial project. It has to make money in the end. It has to make money for the country, has to bring benefit to the country, but it also has to give us a sufficient commercial return to invest because there's vast sums of money put in. And I think the third element, and perhaps the most important, is a passion to drive the investment. And for us, the passion is about Africa and bringing benefit, social and economic benefit to Africa in a way that both depends on those rocks, depends on the technical capability that exists there, depends on the commercial money we can all make out of it, but also will bring that benefit to the people and is something that is so critical to daily life. And if you don't have the passion for that and the passion for the industry and the passion for the country, you won't make progress. Which countries? Any country that provides all three of those things will be the country that we want to invest in. We happen to be at the moment in several African countries, been different ones over the years, particularly in Mauritania and Senegal with a big gas project. Ghana, big oil project with some gas, and in Equatorial Guinea, and we're also looking at Sao Tome. So we like to be Pan-African.
And what role do local content and capacity building play in your African investments?
And I think, and this has shifted over the time with the industry. The industry was very northern western centric, if you like, many years ago. And what it's realized now is to get the best benefit out of the country, you need to be training the country and the people involved from very early stages. So, what do I mean in practical terms? In Ghana, for example, the industry started in about 2007, and there weren't many petroleum engineers, geoscientists, experts in it. But if the companies that then arrive put these people through training programs, you need to start off at universities, then you need to come into the industry, secondments. We've got three secondees at the moment in Dallas from the Ghana National Petroleum Company, GNPC, who are training with us. And then you want gradually for the country to take over more and more. And in our case, in all our countries of operation, our country managers are locals of the countries. They're not people flown in from the US or the UK or anywhere else. They're all locals from that particular country that then drive that local content and also drive a lot of social investment into the country as well.
And how does Cosmos Energy envision Africa's natural gas contributing to the global energy mix?
So global energy mix, as you know, there's been shifts over time. There's a lot of conversation about what's the climate change impact or what's the energy transition story. If you look at natural gas, really it's dominated. About 75% of global natural gas is dominated by the US, Qatar, and Australia. You would say that doesn't leave a lot for the rest of the world to develop. Actually, if you really think about that, the rest of the world that's buying in gas, whether it's from the Far East or whether it's from Europe, don't want to rely on two or three dominant sources. They want to have a variety of sources. They want to have security of supply, and they want to go to different places. A lot of African gas, for example, not Senegal and Mauritania, is very low carbon, low cost. You can get it quickly to Europe. I will re-emphasize the low carbon. It's actually got the gas from Senegal and Mauritania is something like 40% lower carbon than in Qatar or the US. So significant advantage that we can bring. And I doubt that Africa will produce the significant amount of liquefied natural gas that will be dominant in the market, but it can find a real place in the market for the global supply. And then when that global supply reaches different moments in time when you don't need as much in different places, the real objective will be to provide domestic gas into Africa to power its own economies, to industrialize and bring real social economic benefit to the peoples.
And I like that you brought that up because my next question would be, what are the key factors influencing the development of Africa's gas resources?
Yeah, and when companies like ourselves or any company goes in, if you really want to be successful with developments, and our CEO talked about it with NJ Ayuk at the opening ceremony, in fact, what we're looking for in each of the countries we operate in or want to operate in is you need to have a stable environment, a stable political environment. You need to have a clear fiscal structure.
Yeah.
You need to have good regulations, and you need full transparency when you're operating together. And in order to do that, you need to have a genuine partnership with the government or the national company that you're working with, or any of the other companies you're working with. So it's more about the environment around it that will really drive the progress here. And the money will go where it's welcome. That is quite clear. And where it's welcome, and you're getting those right conversations, you're being open about it, you're addressing the difficulties, you're saying, yeah, we can do this project, and it can bring benefit to everyone, the country, ourselves, our national company partners, our other operating partners, then you really do have the ingredients for success.
And what role do you see natural gas playing in Africa's energy transition?
Well, I always like to look at Africa as not a country, it's a group of countries that people often talk about as if it's one unity. It's a whole continent full of vibrant, different countries. And if you really look at the way the global environment is going, Africa contains the nursery of the world, as I like to talk about. The youth here is going to be an enormous part of global population very soon.
Yeah.
And youth will require, particularly today when they're on their phones, or when they'll soon, I hope, be using here artificial intelligence to drive both education and commercial benefit, is it requires an enormous amount of power. Now, we all want to move ultimately down a more renewable route for power, but in order for power to work in any country in the world, for any grid in the world, you need a basis which is reliable, and natural gas is the most reliable, clean base you can get. And I think it's injecting that. We hear a lot about the 700 million now without access to electricity and the 900 million not cooking in clean facilities. That's really important to get that right. Those numbers are only going to increase. But if you really think about the way to drive social progress in Africa, in all the countries in Africa, it will require serious amounts of energy in the next few years. And this will not happen by putting a few solar panels on a few roofs, I'm afraid. It does require major projects producing major base loads for the grid that would then work. And then you can really see a future for the development of Africa. If not, we are going to hit serious problems with a large number of people unable to live the sorts of lives that I myself and many others have lived. We really need to be in that space. We need to transform the lives of hundreds of millions of people.
And just my last question, we're here at African Energy Week. What outcomes are you looking to achieve during this week? And, more importantly, how is it possible to make energy poverty history?
And I think you asked the right question. And Africa Energy Week for us is by far and away the most important conference that we go to as a company whose interests are so intimately tied up with the future of Africa and making energy poverty history. This conference is really a conference where the only one that really brings together the African politicians, the companies that need to be investing in the country, and then the indigenous companies as well that will benefit from it. And I think there, what we're really trying to do, and it was mentioned in the opening ceremony, we really, NJ would say drill baby drill, but it's deal deal, baby, deal.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is find those projects that will bring that benefit that you and I have just been talking about, and the conversations we can have in the corridors, the people we meet, the engagement we can have, and we need to be able to follow the latest conversation about how to do that. And it's not theoretical. Some very good round tables that I've been to this week to listen to what people are talking about, and you can move from the theoretical, we do need to supply the energy to the people, but then the question is, how do you do it, and how do you make the deal? And that's what the people here should be looking at, turning it into practical action on the basis of what we know we need to do. And that's really what Africa Energy Week, which we deeply enjoy being part of, brings to us as a company. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, and I do hope you have a productive week.
Thank you. We will.